Hey, a young man works to make a living. A grown man works to make a difference. And an old man works to make a legacy. I like to think of these as the 3 chapters in a working man's life that most of us go through. Chapter 1, the young man who is working to make a living. He wants to make sure that his family has everything they need. They have food, they have shelter, they have safety in their home, and they have security in their future. Once this young man has worked to acquire all that, and his family is safe and taken care of, their future is secure, then this young man has graduated to chapter 2. He is now a grown man, and he can work to make a difference. Now, this is a difference in the world around him, to leave it better than he found it. Once he does this, and he is now an old man works to make a legacy. Now, this is just taking it one step further. A legacy is changing people enough that that positive change goes on for generations. So chapter 2 and chapter 3 are kind of similar. An example of making a difference would be volunteering at a soup kitchen in a homeless shelter. That is a positive change on the world around you. But will it be felt for generations? Probably not. Listen, Rocky, an example of a legacy would be a teacher. They're enriching these students' lives, giving them knowledge and teaching them how to be good people. But they're enriching it enough that these kids grow into healthy and functioning adults who then raise healthy, functioning kids of their own and pass on those lessons for generations and generations. It's a cycle that continues. Another example would be advancing medicine, advancing science in a way that it improves people's lives for generations to come. Now, I don't know what my legacy will be. I've actually thought about, what could I do to ever leave a legacy? And yeah, I got nothing. Really nothing. I got not even a direction. But luckily, I am not an old man, so I got plenty of time to think about it. I don't have to do that right now. That's future Matt's problem. So let's go back to the start of my chapter 1. As a young man, I'm 26 years old. I have $60,000 in student loan debt. I was $60,000 in debt from school. And I had a baby, and I had another one on the way. Young man Matt was scared and didn't know how we were going to figure this out. So I actually just kind of accidentally found Dave Ramsey. For those who don't know and you want to get out of debt or just advance your net worth, it's a good tool. So I started listening to these CDs. He had lectures on CD, and I was listening to him and learning a ton. And what I realized is we were living below our means, but we weren't living well below our means. So he taught us how to live well below our means so we could really put all that extra to paying off debt and getting ahead. So Meredith and I, we cut cable, we trimmed our phone plans back, we stopped eating out. She started cutting my hair. Anything that we could do to save money and not pay someone else that money, we did. If something broke in the house or something on the cars broke and I didn't know how to fix it, we normally would just call someone and be like, hey, plumber, come fix this. Hey, car guy, come fix this. And I was like, no, we're gonna figure it out. So I'd buy all the tools and all the parts I needed, and I would learn how to do it. I'd get on YouTube and I'd figure out how to replace a water pump on a 2000 GMC pickup. And I did it, so I didn't have to pay someone else to do it. And it freaking worked really well. So we actually totally paid off all of our debt in 2 years by living super far below our means. So now I'm 28 years old. I have a net worth of 0, which I was pumped about because I had a net worth of negative $60,000 2 years prior. That's bad, right? But I realized if I continue to employ these financial tactics that I learned while I was paying off the debt and do that while I don't have the debt dragging me down anymore, and I start acquiring assets that are going to help pull me forward, I should be able to really save up a lot of money. And so at 28 years old, I actually made a goal that by 35 years old, I wanted to be able to totally retire if I wanted to. I didn't know if I wanted to, I just wanted the option. So I'm still in chapter 1, I'm still a young man, and I start saving and investing and working really hard to get ahead. And by the time I'm 35 years old, I had done it. I had saved enough money, we had enough passive income from investments and things that I could retire if I wanted to. But I didn't want to retire. I had found out over that last 7 years that I actually really liked working. I'm a hard worker. It's fun for me. I don't know what I'd do if I didn't work. And so I didn't want to retire. So I just kind of kept working. So that was 2 years ago. Now I'm 37 years old. And it's been just over a decade since I started Chapter 1 as a young man working to make a living. And Dim Militia, I'm here to say today, I have good news. I have made a living. I have done it. We're good. My family is safe and secure. And my Chapter 1 is over. Today is the first day of Chapter 2, where I am a grown man. I'm a grown-ass man today. At the end of Chapter 1, once you've made a living, some men don't want to go to Chapter 2. They want to retire, and there's nothing wrong with that. I could, get a fancy car. I could get some fancy friends. I could get some fancy goats that don't lick their butts. I could go buy a fancy Rolex. I could go with my fancy friends to the fancy country club, and I could use my fancy golf clubs out on the fancy golf course, and we just have a grand old time. And it would be fun. Not saying I wouldn't have a good time. It would be fun. But I don't know if y'all can tell by me sitting out here in my blue jeans in the dirt with my goats. I'm not a very fancy guy. And I think I'd get bored with that very quickly. So, retirement, I'm not ready. Not ready for retirement yet. I want to make a difference. I want to positively change the world around me. So, I fed the goats. All right, well, see y'all later. My difference will be feeding y'all. My legacy will be teaching you to feed yourself, you know? Teach a goat to fish and all that stuff. You have to put it right on their heads. That's how they absorb the most nutrients. Day 1 of me being a grown-ass man, I actually just went all in on something. And I'm not saying all in like, I'm all in, yeah, man. I'm like all freaking in. Like I just bought something big. Bigger than anything I've ever bought, by far. Riskier than anything I've ever risked, by far. Really not a great financial investment at all. This is the one they would say, don't do. This is not worth it. The risk is not worth the reward. I'm the most nervous and most excited I've ever been about anything. And you guys got to watch all of Chapter 1. Thank you guys for being there. Hope you enjoyed. You're a butthead. I'm gonna hold you over here. Go get your food, girl. I got this guy. You guys got to see they got to see all of Chapter 1. Yeah, they did. And you're gonna get to see Chapter 2 as well. You will too. You're not gonna get to eat the food because you're a butt, but the chapters, I have no idea how long they last. I don't think anybody knows. There's not like a rule book necessarily. It depends on what you want to do with your life. But I realized that my Chapter 1 just ended and my Chapter 2 just started. So this is me, a grown-ass man, starting his Chapter 2. And it's gonna be a wild one. And I'll announce it in the next episode. So this is something I've been working on for like 9 months. So many hoops to jump through, like a ridiculous amount of things. I wanted to show this to you actually 2 months ago. I really thought I would be announcing it 2 months ago. And legally I'm not able to, because it's just a freaking nightmare. But I'm pretty sure that in like 2 weeks, I can finally announce it. But it's gonna be worth the wait. I can promise you that. Chapter 2, starting today. Grown-ass man. See you in the next episode.